Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining me for a 1-hour Yin and Yoga Nidra class. My name is Tamara Maxim. I live here in Burnaby, British Columbia, and I am almost approaching teaching 100 days of yoga in a row. And the last 7 days, I decided to dedicate each of the classes in whatever style I happen to be teaching that day to each of the 7 chakras. So this is the second day, so we'll be focusing on Svadisthana Chakra, the Sacral Chakra region. And tomorrow will be Manipur Chakra, which is our solar plexus area, and that will be with a power yoga practice. So I hope any of the next 7 days that you tune in, either here on Facebook Live or through my YouTube channel, which is under my name, Tamara Maxim, that you find something different and a little different level of awareness that you can bring into your practice. I also have music playlists for my classes or different styles of yoga that are on my Spotify account, which is under the name Tamara YVR, YVR being the airport code for the Vancouver airport, which is right next to the area where I live. So I hope you enjoy this practice, and I'll keep sharing yoga after the 100 days is up through my YouTube channel. Let's begin this practice lying on our back in a reclined butterfly position. So if you have a couple of blocks for your practice, and as well, maybe you want to grab a couple couch cushions or bolsters if you have them. You'll lay down onto your back, take your feet together, knees out wide, and maybe bring something underneath your outer thighs to support the knees. And if not needed, then you can allow the knees to soften down to any degree. And for this particular beginning, we'll have one hand on the belly and one hand on the heart, and start to connect with your breath here in this posture. And I have this beautiful book that was given to me by my daughter. It's called A Little Bit of Chakras, and I'm going to read to you about Svadisthana, the Sacral Chakra, while you're here. So feel free to close your eyes, soften into your breath, and allow this pose to help release the area of your sacrum, your hips, your lower back. In Sanskrit, which is the language of yoga, the word Svadhisthana means sweetness. This sacral chakra is located in the lower abdomen and womb. It's generally thought to be orange. So as we're here in this practice, you can experience maybe a bright, clear orange color emanating from that area or just around you. To unblock energy in your chakras, you focus on filling them with light and letting go of any past density that you may hold there. So if this bright orange color is not coming to you, see if there's anything that you can let go of to help clear the color and make it bright. Svadhisthana governs pleasure, desire, sexuality, sensuality, and procreation. It's all about the sweetness of life and feeling good. This chakra enlivens your world experience by engaging your senses and emotions. This is a complicated, rich, and when in balance, rewarding chakra. A healthy and vibrant sacral chakra will help you enjoy life to the fullest. It brings vitality through pleasure and enjoyment and can be a great source of joy. When in balance, Svadhisthana gives you the ability to navigate change and the polarities of life. It also resonates pleasure, movement, emotions, sexuality, and nurturance. It helps you engage in the sensory experience of living and integrate that energy into your subtle bodies. Feeling lively and creative is critical to a happy life. Ideally, you feel vital, alive, creative, and you experience the sensory pleasures of life on a daily basis. Those feelings stem from a healthy sacral chakra. Creativity and sweetness in the sacral chakra pave the way for a life of enjoyment and feeling good. And I hope that is one of the results of this particular practice for you by the end of it. And now over the next few minutes, start to connect more deeply with your breath. See if you can bring the breath down into the sacral chakra as you inhale, almost like a vacuum being pulled down and spread around your hips, your inner thighs, your lower back. And creating a little bit of volume. You can feel the hand on your belly rise up and the hand over your heart rise up. And then as you exhale, see if you can softly release that air and use that as a way to let go of anything that might be held there, tightly held there. The hips around the sacral area are always considered to be an emotional warehouse where we store a lot from our past. And so for many people, this is a very tight area. In addition to being surrounded by such big muscles as the thighs and the glutes, and such a big joint as the hip joint. So a lot of different muscle movement happening there, a lot of different nerves running through, a lot of different big bones surrounded by connective tissue. And that's what we want to help release through this practice, is all that connective tissue that's wrapping around the joints, the muscles, and the bones. If it feels right to you through this practice, in an effort to let go of anything that you might be holding there that could be stifling some of that creativity, that sensuality, that sexuality, find an intention for this practice. Something around releasing in that area, or maybe even a single word or phrase that represents that letting go. And if you like, you can dedicate the practice. It's always nice to dedicate this practice maybe to the thing that you are letting go of, that one challenge, that one piece of baggage that you've been holding on to all this time. Give it a blessing of letting it go with your dedication. And if you like, you can continue to keep your hands where they are, or maybe let them float out to the side if you haven't already, creating a gesture of receptivity with your hand, the palms facing up. And as you're letting go, you're creating more space in your body. Be receptive to whatever it is that you're creating space for. It's kind of the world of the unknown, but it's through that not knowing keeps you vibrant and alive. From this place of receptivity and openness and letting go, we'll share one beautiful sound of Om. Take a deep, full, clearing breath in through your nose. Sigh out your mouth. Inhale for Om. Feel that vibration of Om into the lower back, into the inner thighs and hips, and let that vibration continue to reverberate and echo as you attune yourself to this vibration that's all around us all the time. And now through the chanting of Om, we bring awareness to it. We allow ourselves to be present to what is truly happening around us energetically. Take your last 5 deep breaths here. Feel free to sigh out your mouth. Keeping attuned to your intention throughout the practice and attuned to your breath. Help yourself stay present, focused. Last couple breaths. Last full deep breath in and full deep breath out. Use your hands on your outer thighs to bring your knees back together. And just take a moment here with your feet flat on the mat, maybe hip distance apart. A small moment of rest in between the postures to neutralize. Observe the body. Come back to a state of homeostasis. A quantumous breath. And then as you're ready, bring one knee at a time in toward your chest. Give yourself a nice squeeze. And if it feels good, you can stay here in the center, maybe rock side to side across the sacral region, or maybe even forward and back little roll up and down the spine, massaging out the sides of the spine. And then come all the way down into your back in stillness. Maybe even bringing your forearms across your shin bones. Squeeze in nice and tight and see if you can flatten your sacrum toward the mat. And if you have a cushion or a bolster, anything you'd like to use, you can make sure you have that close by you. Don't worry if you don't. We'll come into a spinal twist. So you'll jog your hips a little bit to the left side and bring your knees to the right, and the knees can be both together on top of a cushion, or you can have the cushion in between. For myself, I like to have one hand resting on my top thigh, and I like to cactus my opposite arm. Move any dog beds out of the way. I like to cactus my opposite arm, but you might find that it might feel better for you just to stay curled up on your side and not go for the full twist. So you can decide what's more appropriate for you in this moment. And then allow yourself to start to surrender here. We create this twist through the spine, beginning in the lower back, the lumbar region, the area of the Sacral Chakra, Svadisthana. And it just so happens that your adrenal glands, which are actually associated with the root chakra, they happen to be in your lower back, around your kidneys. So this twist will help to soften and release any tension or tightness around the adrenal glands. And as you breathe in and out, you send a signal to your parasympathetic system to stay active and avoid the response of the sympathetic nervous system, that kick of adrenaline that puts us in the fight or flight mode. So continuously breathe deeply and steadily. Keep coming back to your intention, what it is that you wish for this practice. An added bonus of this practice, if you're in the twist, is that you create more opening on the left side of your heart. I don't think there's any yoga pose that stands in isolation of not stimulating different chakras of the body. This particular posture twists the entire spine, so really every chakra is being activated here. And especially if you turn your gaze toward the left, and even your eyes as far as you can toward the left. You can still do this with your eyes closed. And we're just about halfway through this side. If you would like to go a little deeper, you can maybe slide your bottom leg to straight, bring the cushion underneath your top leg, and this will give you a deeper twist. Feel free to go there if you like. You might feel a little bit of pinch in the lower back, especially around the back of your left side. So if you do, come back to the two-knee twist. Take your last 6 or 7 deep breaths here, focusing on maybe getting a little bit more release. You can always remove any cushions that you have and allow the body to come toward its edge naturally. If it's too much for that straight leg without cushions, you can bring the knees back together. Starting to find a deeper breath as you pull the breath up and down the spine. See if you can expand more awareness into Svadisthana, into your sacrum. As you exhale, ensuring a release of some kind, a sound or audible breath out your mouth. Last couple breaths here. Big inhales. Full exhales. Last one. And slowly you'll untwist yourself. So bring your gaze back through center. Use your hands beside you to assist your hips to come back into the middle. And just take a moment here. If you like, you can bring your left knee out to the left. Take a half happy baby. And maybe let the outer right foot support your right leg as the right knee falls out to the right. And as you pull down on your foot, the knee comes down. At the same time, push up into your hand and see if you can feel a leveling of the sacrum, the lower back area. If it feels okay, maybe even extending your right leg straight. You can push down on the hip flexor to get extra release there, front of the hip. Sometimes a hard area to stretch. It's very tight. And walk your right foot back in if your knee is bent. We'll come to the other side of the twist and we'll do the half happy baby after releasing this side of the twist. So jog your hips a little bit to the right side, let your knees fall to the left. You're welcome to put a cushion in between your thighs or underneath both knees. If it feels good, you can cactus your arm, your right arm out to the right, maybe your left hand on top to help to pull the knees down. And staying focused on your intention. Staying focused on your breath. Often in this practice, I find my mind starts to wander. Lots of things to think about, and it's easy to get caught up in them. So if that begins to happen to you, and sometimes it does, to simply avoid letting go. It's hard to let go, and we would rather do other things that are easier, like thinking about a shopping list or what we need to do after, or something that we forgot about in our day. Instead, be disciplined and bring yourself back to this place of stillness and quiet, to really face what comes up, to face what is there, face what there might be to let go of. It's really in the quieting of the mind that our yoga happens. It doesn't happen when the mind is busy and we're not paying attention to it. Yoga happens when we can calm the mind. And it might be short-lived. The mind is very active and hard to calm. But if you can get those fleeting moments, then you're truly experiencing yoga. We're about halfway through this side. If you'd like to go deeper, oh, I didn't know you were there. Just straighten out your bottom leg and maybe bring your top knee across, maybe to a cushion or maybe not. And breathing deeply into the spine, you can feel the twist beginning with your sacrum and rising all the way up, really beginning with your tailbone, your root chakra, and rising all the way up through the spine, opening up through the chest, even through the throat, especially if your head is turning. Your eyes could turn all the way to the right, stimulating Ajna chakra and create a space through the crown of the head for all this energy to be released. Giving yourself an opportunity to go deep here. Our last few breaths. Inhale through the nose. And sigh out your mouth. Last one. Inhale. And exhale. And use your hands to support you. Bring your gaze back through center and twist yourself. I'm just going to face a little bit of an angle here. You have cute puppies or other pets in the way, you have to work around them. And we'll take half happy baby with the right leg this time, and you can let your left outer foot support your left leg as your knee falls out to the left, and you can place your right hand on the outer right foot as you pull the right knee and right foot down, and at the same time press into the hand with your right foot and see if you can level the sacrum. If it feels okay, stay, or maybe try extending that left leg straight. Knead the hip flexor down. Often one of the very tight places in the sacral region. If you have tight hip flexors, you probably have something going on with your knees and something going on with your glutes and something going on with your lower back, all tied in together there. Handy little flexor connects lots of points in the body in the sacral region. We'll slowly release both knees back into the chest. We'll have a few breaths here in Viparita Karani, legs up and arms up. You can rotate out your ankles and wrists to neutralize. And with your feet up in the air, puts a little bit more weight down on the sacrum. And take some rest here. Let your shoulders soften, let your hips soften. Let all the joints of your arms and legs soften. You could stay here, or bring the soles of your feet together and make a little basket with your hands and wrap it around the outer edge of your feet as you press your knees away from you and pull the heels down, a floating supine butterfly. See if you can draw the heels toward your sacral region and then press the knees away. Five more deep breaths. Letting something go with your exhale. Could be energy, it could be a memory, could be a feeling. Maybe something that can't be named, but it's just there, it's present. By letting go, you create space for something new. One more breath. And then from here, hands around the outer edges of your feet, pull your feet away from each other, full happy baby pose. If this is challenging, you can always hold behind the thighs, or even put your hands on the front of your ankles and pull the knees down. Whatever works for you. 5 more deep breaths here, and as you're pulling the knees down and at the same time pushing the feet into the hands, try to curl your sacrum toward the mat. I always think of it like an unfurling. So unfurling the sacrum. Right now it will kind of draw toward you. Push it away and try to flatten the lower back. Last 3 breaths. As you're ready, you'll slowly bring everything back in. And you can either roll to your side, back and forth even a few times first, or forward and back again. And this time we'll come up to a seat. So either roll forward and back and up to your seat, or roll to your side and push up to your seat when you're ready. And we'll be making our way into a tabletop position. I have to say I'm in a room with 2 big couches and a lounge chair and plenty of places to lie down, but this seems to be the prime real estate. Spread your fingertips wide, palms underneath your shoulders, knees under your hips, tuck your toes. And on your inhale breath, exaggerate the movement of your sacrum. Push it up, belly down, chest up, and hold here, this cow pose. Feel the lengthening of your chest up, and at the same time, sacrum pushing up and away. If it's too much for your neck, you can always gaze down. If you can, try to look forward and lengthen through the chest and the neck, right? Activating all the chakras here, right to the crown of the head. You can even start to look up between the eyes and direct the energy toward the crown. At the same time, pull through the sacrum, pull it up and back. Take one more deep breath in here. Stay for your exhale. And then take the big toes to touch, knees out wide or together, and sink the hips down to the heels and let your arms come forward and wide. And then flip your palms up again if you can, a gesture of receptivity. And if the wide is too much for you, then the arms can be more parallel with each other. Let your forehead relax. Take 3 more deep breaths here, releasing breaths as you exhale. Fun fact, tomorrow is this puppy's 8th birthday. Take your last full deep breath here. Nice long exhale, or even a couple extras if you need. And we'll do a pelvic massage. So press into your hands. Let your toes lift up and come all the way down onto your belly. And if you've practiced with me before, you've probably seen me do this and you've done it yourself. It can be feeling a little bit awkward. So if it is, you can stay in child pose or just move through cat and cow. And press your shoulders back and down. Press your hands beside your chest. Inhale, push up. As you exhale, hips back to the heels, forehead down. And move through that a few times unless you'd rather do cat and cow or stay in child pose. Exhale to lower. Inhale to push up. It's really nice to lengthen the hip flexors. Exhale back. Nice way to floss out the hips. Give them a bit of extra love. Exhale, push back. 1 more each way. You can stay in child pose, take a couple of breaths. And slowly slither forward, coming all the way down onto your belly. You can make a little pillow with your hands, forehead straight down. If it feels better for you, you can cactus your arms and turn your head to the right. And from here, we'll come into a half frog pose. So the right knee will bend, come out to the right, directly in line with your right hip, and you can flex your right foot as well. So the heel is pressing down, toes are curling toward your shin bone. And try to press your right hip more down toward the mat. If you want a little extra here, you can turn your head to the left side instead. And we'll be here for a couple of minutes on each side, but I'll give you the option to add in a little bit of back bend and just about halfway through the pose. So enjoying the pressing down of the front of the sacral region. We so often think about pressing the back side down, but now try to press the front of your pelvis down. It might help if you try squeezing your right bum cheek a little bit. This will help to create a bit more release in the front side. Taking about 10 to 12 more deep breaths wherever you are. You can even turn your head opposite direction if you like. Remembering to keep bringing yourself back into this state of yoga, this zone of yoga, through remaining present. Last few breaths. Deep breath in. Sigh out your mouth if you like. Let something go. One more. You're welcome to stay as you are or to add in Sphinx pose, bit of a back bend. You'll start to walk your elbows underneath your shoulders, your forearms and hands like a number 11 parallel with each other. Staying in the half frog pose, adding on this back bend, this allows a little bit more pressure of the sacral region down, the front of the hips down, and then lifting of the heart, pulling away, so finding that back bend. We'll take about 6 or 7 deep breaths here. You're welcome to place a cushion or bolster underneath your chest if that feels good for you. Maybe your elbows are on the front side of some kind of cushion. If you like, you can take your hands wide, walk them a little bit closer to you, push yourself up in a variation called seal or supported seal. So this can be quite intense for the right hip. If it's too much for you, then just lower back down. Just 3 more breaths. And slowly start to lower. Bring your forehead down. We'll rest here for 1 more minute. When you're ready to release from your half frog pose, slowly slide your right leg back to meet your left. You can let your the tops of your feet relax down, your heels fall open. Forehead can remain down on your hands if you want. You can bend your knees, keeping your feet away from each other, knees away from each other, and windshield wiper side to side. Then we'll come into the other side of this. Bring your left knee out to the left, in line with your left hip. Flex your left foot. You can create the same shape with your arms, either forehead down on your hands or cactus arms. If you look to the left, probably be more gentle. A little extra stretch. You can look to your right. Focusing on the front of the sacrum. It's a really nice stretch for the straight leg thigh as well, that hip flexor. But as you're descending the sacrum down, it might help you to squeeze your left bum cheek a little bit. This will create a little bit more stretch on the left thigh, front of the thigh and the inner thigh. Yoga also comes about, the state of yoga also comes about through consistent practice. And this particular practice, yin, although sometimes feels like we're not doing very much, it's actually very challenging for many people to stay present during this practice. It seems like we might be lying around, but there's a lot of deep work being done to help release that tight fascia that's been building up tightness over a long period of time. So considering that the practice of yoga needs to be consistent and over time, then you need to give yourself that time to become good at it and proficient at it, meaning that it's okay if the mind starts to wander, but you more quickly recognize it and bring it back. So try not to feel bad if that's happening for you, or all of a sudden you kind of tune out or come back. Keep trying to create that restraint of the fluctuations of the mind. And that's when you create this state of yoga. If you like, you can start to bring your forearms onto the mat, preparing for the Sphinx variation here if you want. Take a couple deep breaths if you like to release before you come into this. Then as you're ready, pulling your heart up as the sacrum presses down. And of course you can align a bolster or cushion underneath the space created by your triceps and your chest. If you like, you can come into a supported seal, turning the hands out toward the corners of your mat, walk them in a little bit and press into your hands until your arm bones straighten. Then you'll really feel the left hip especially. And it might even be impacting your knee, inner knee, and if it is, just come down. Or support yourself as needed. Just a few more deep breaths here. And then when you're ready, lower down, make a little pillow. Just one more minute here, relaxing. ready to release, take your time, a few more deep breaths, but as you're ready, releasing that left leg to meet your right. Let your heels fall open. Stay like this, or you can bend your knees, keeping your feet and knees away from each other, and windshield wiper side to side. And when you're ready, release. Slide your palms underneath your shoulders, tuck your toes, push yourself back and up for an extended child pose. Keeping the toes tucked, hips to heels, forehead down. Then maybe take a few breaths with your arms going to the right. And keep the toes tucked, as this helps to accentuate the push of the sacrum back and down toward the heels. And maybe a few breaths with your hands over to the left, just a transition between poses. Coming back through center, 2 more breaths here. Press the balls of the feet down, heels back with the toes tucked. Really nice release for the feet. And then coming up to a tabletop position. Coming into either deer pose or sleeping swan, a kind of penultimate hip opening posture. If for some reason staying upright like this, either in a deer pose with this zigzag shape of your legs, or sleeping swan pose or pigeon, if that's too much for you, especially on the knee, come onto your back and you can cross your left ankle over your right ankle over your left thigh. And this can be your variation of the hip opener. Otherwise, come into a position where your right shin bone is working toward parallel with the top edge of your mat, and maybe your left thigh is doing the same, so you create these two 90-degree angles. For myself, I actually like to place my left knee behind my right foot for this side, and there are 2 options. One is to come forward into a fold, so your chest is aligned between your thighs, or you can turn out to the right and have a twist. And feel free to use a bolster or cushion anywhere there. For sleeping swan, you'll bring the right shin bone forward at any angle that's comfortable for your knee, keeping the foot active if you especially come more forward. Otherwise, relax the top of your foot. Slide your left knee back by tucking your toes and extend the foot back behind you. Untuck your toes. Take a moment to sit upright, sinking the hips down, and then you can relax down as well. Try to get both hip points square. So if you're in sleeping swan, both hips are working toward the mat. If you're in deer pose, your hips will be aligned toward the left side of your mat. You'll be a little bit more on your right hip for that variation. And as we've been doing throughout this practice, if there's something to let go of, especially that you've been holding in this storage area of the hips, this emotional storage basket, please take this opportunity, give yourself this gift of time to let go.
If you're in Sleeping Swan, something that you might want to do for the second half of the pose here is create a little bit of a twist. And it might require bringing a little pillow under the side of your head. You can thread your left arm underneath your right arm, maybe extend your right arm straight, or even bring it back behind you for a little bind. Maybe you can even find your right big toe to hang on to. Whichever pose that you're in, either deer pose or sleeping swan, let's take 6 more deep breaths. And when you're ready to release, either from your deer pose or sleeping swan, push yourself up, extend your right leg back behind you, give it a nice stretch. Maybe you'd like to come into a downward dog, pedal out your heels, or maybe lift your right leg up, stack your hip. And you decide what would work best for you, just for about 5 or 6 deep breaths to neutralize. Staying connected to what's happening in your body, maybe even some cat and cow. Maybe you stay a little bit extra in the cat pose, curling the tailbone under, so rounding through the sacrum, forehead toward your heart, push up into your belly, hands pressing down. Opposite of the cow pose. And coming back through neutral, now we'll slide the left shin forward. And again, the more you bring your shin parallel to the top of your mat, the more you might want to flex that foot. Otherwise, keep it relaxed. You can stay in deer pose, creating as much of a zigzag shape as you like. It's the most extreme would be to have both legs bent at 90 degrees, and then you can come forward or to the side, whichever feels good. For myself, I prefer the sleeping swan most of the time, but my hips are always quite tight, so you need that extra release there. Sliding the right knee back by tucking the toes. You can stay upright for a little bit. You can even lay over a cushion or maybe come down onto your forearms or forehead down. And for sleeping swan, a little bit twist to the left. Gives a different stretch than surrendering down in the center of the thighs. And again, if this is too much for you for some reason, you can always lie on your back, and this time you would cross your left ankle over top of your right thigh for a supine pigeon or supine swan. Thread the needle. And you might find that, through the imbalance of the hips, that you want to sway more toward the right thigh or over to the left. If you can, in sleeping swan, try to square both hips to the mat. Letting those back toes relax. And if you didn't catch the last class that I taught, which was a power class, there was a focus on the root chakra. Tonight is the Sacral Chakra, and tomorrow will be Manipur Chakra, the solar plexus, and that will be a power practice. Then there'll be a few more classes after that leading up to Friday of this week, which will be June 19th, and that will be 100 days of yoga in a row.
And many of you have been watching and joining a lot of that time, and I'm just so appreciative of it. Just your support, your kindness, and your appreciation has been so heartwarming, and it's helping me get through this challenging time, and I know for many of you it's also helping you, so it's just such a beautiful mutual exchange. And if you like, for this last little bit of Sleeping Swan, you can slide your right arm underneath your left, extend your left palm, maybe a little cushion under the head, or find a half bind with your left hand. Maybe you can even find your left big toe and turn more open with the chest. Wherever you decide to be, take about 6 more deep breaths. When you're ready to release the pose over your next few breaths, make your way back onto your hands. Push yourself either through tabletop or downward dog. Maybe you want to stretch out that left leg back behind you, or pedal out your heels a couple of times in downward dog, maybe lifting that left leg, stacking your hip open. Wherever you can to find a more neutralizing position. Do that for a few breaths, neutralizing, coming back into a state of homeostasis, equilibrium, and then find your way onto your seat. Extending your legs out in front of you. And for this next posture, you can sit up onto a block or a cushion, or even put one underneath your thighs to create more of a bend in the knees, to relax the back of the thighs as we fold forward over our legs for caterpillar pose. This is very relaxing for the sacrum and the lower back, but for some of you might have tight lower back, so just coming down as far as you can. You can even use a block to support your forehead somewhere along the way. Again, for this last posture, and of course a big bolster is nice too, keep the palms up. Again, that gesture of receptivity, and keeping yourself open to whatever it is that you're creating space for. Maybe going a little bit further as the hips relax. Lower back relaxes. Maybe you don't need the cushion under the thighs. Enjoy 10 more breaths here in caterpillar pose. Last few breaths. Take a nice long deep inhale. Releasing sigh out your mouth. Take your time to gently roll yourself up And make your way onto your back for Yoga Nidra, followed by Shavasana. And you can stay as long as you like into the Shavasana. We'll be kind of a short Yoga Nidra today, but feel free to add on as much time at the end as you like. If you want, you can place a bolster underneath your thighs, maybe even a pillow behind your head for a little added extra comfort. And tonight, this Yoga Nidra will focus on all of the 7 chakras, kind of a Yoga Nidra for the chakras. Normally we get onto all the fingers and toes and all of that stuff. It's nice and slow, but tonight we'll get centered right in the spine. So get comfortable. If you've been practicing with me lately, I've been adding this in a little bit in preparation for these last 7 classes where we're focusing a lot on each of these areas. And as you're here tonight, bring awareness to the color orange for this particular chakra, that's Svadisthana, the sacral region. Getting yourself comfortable, take 3 deep clearing breaths on your own. A nice inhale through the nose, feel the breath rising, filling you up, and as you exhale, release as much as you can to really settle in. 2 more just like that. One more. And on your next breath in, allow the breath to travel all the way down to Muladhara Chakra, your root chakra. And as you exhale, feel the breath rising up, spiraling around and releasing little glow, a beautiful white light through the crown of your head. Take another breath in and feel the energy spiraling down, and visualize it spiraling down all the way down Svadisthana chakra into your sacrum, all around your hips and your lower back. And as you exhale, let it carry with you anything that you'd like to let go of in this beautiful sparkle of white light through the crown of the head. Take another breath in and let the breath travel and spiral down to your solar plexus, Manipur Chakra. And let it gather up that sense of power and self-worth, identity. And as you exhale, allow the exhalation to carry with it whatever you would like to let go of that's no longer serving who you truly are. And let it be released in a beautiful flash of white light through the crown of your head. Take another deep breath in, and this time let the breath spiral down and around and circle the heart, the beautiful green of the heart chakra, Anahata. Let your heart feel healed. Let your heart feel protected. Let your heart glow with this beautiful emerald light. On your next exhalation, release and let go of whatever it is that might be tarnishing that beautiful emerald heart. And let that go through a beautiful flash of white light. On your next breath in, let the breath travel down and spiral around the throat, the neck, the sides, inside and out. Allow your voice to be heard. Allow anything that you've been holding back to be spoken and expressed. And as you exhale, let anything that's been negative or hurtful or painful that's come in through words or out through words or even thoughts, let it be released. And let a beautiful glowing white light start to spiral and arise around the crown of your head. On your next breath in, draw that beautiful light toward your third eye. And let that beautiful white light spread around your third eye, that inner knowing and intuition, that sense of awareness, that deep connection within. And let that light spread all the way through the crowns until your entire crown is glowing in beautiful light. And let all of that light start to pour out of the crown and around you until you become a beautiful vessel, a cocoon of white light. Your whole body glowing, these beautiful sparkles of color coming from the chakras, beginning with red at the root chakra, orange as you start to rise up through Svadisthana, yellow of Manipura, green of the heart, blue of the throat, and these 2 indigo and purple of Ajna and the crown. Let your whole body be awash in this beautiful crystalline color. Take a deep, full breath in and a deep, full breath out. Stay here as long as you like. This vessel of beautiful light, sparkles of color. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll close the practice with one sound of Om. Deep inhale, full exhale, for Om. Enjoy this feeling for as long as you like. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.